Hello students, today we are going to have a final revision for your official exam, only general notes and some tips on how to use or how to deal with your. Let's look at this sample. This is a sample exam for your English. At the top, usually, there is part 1, reading comprehension, as you can see. After this part, at the heading, you have the main idea for the whole text. Here it's written in the following selection. It's right. Well, here it's written what's the main idea of the whole essay or the whole text. Here, the writer reports the economic problems of Lebanese displaced villagers. So it's very important not to skip reading this part. You can use it in justifying for the type of introduction, the purpose, and so many things usually as a full complete sentence. Okay, so you have to be careful to read this part at the top, which is before the text, before the whole text. It is written here the main idea of the whole essay. What should you do? For this sample essay, for example, you have to have only general overview for the topic. You have to read it, even though if there are some new words or certain clauses you didn't understand, it's okay. We all have certain words that are a little bit hard or harsh for you, but we can clarify their meaning using the context clue. And here, what is our aim? Only to understand the whole idea of the essay, not word by word. So it would be great to write notes next to each paragraph, whether in Arabic or English, whatever, what suits you. You have to write a word that summarizes, or a sentence or phrase that summarizes the main idea of each paragraph, which would help you to focus on the flow of ideas in this text. When we come, usually the first part asks you to answer, which are reading comprehension questions, to answer in 1 to 4 sentences using your own words. When we are doing so, we have to pay attention to using your own words. You shouldn't copy paste answers as they are from text. And usually they are simple and to the point. Why? Because they already tell you from which paragraph to find or figure out the answer. Here, as it said, based on paragraph number 2. So your mind and your eyes have all to be focused on paragraph number 2 to check out the answer. What is he asking you to? What two problems do Lebanese displaced villagers suffer from? Here, I have only to answer it as simple as that. The two problems that Lebanese displaced villagers suffer from are, and list them. Sometimes there are not only two problems, there are more, but the question only focuses on two. So you have to choose two of the listed problem in the paragraph. And using your own words, you may only try to use, for example, he has used problems, use the word troubles, obstacles, use synonym of words. If you run out of words, try only to substitute the word by its synonym. Number 2, the same strategy based on paragraph number 3. So I have only to focus and try to search for the answer of this question only in paragraph number 3. Sometimes we may see that the answer can be from other paragraph, but no, he's asking you to focus in this one. Maybe he's asking you to comprehend more, to analyze. So you have to be specific and relevant to the paragraph that already is selected, okay? And the same strategy for all the questions. This is reading comprehension part is to the point and simply from the text without any further analysis, except sometimes there is some deduction or conclusion to uh, from your own. It's relevant to the text. When we come to part B, part number B in any English exam usually is the same, relevant to the skills. When we come to the skills, there are certain things we have to keep in mind. You have to understand the meaning of each term. You have to try to memorize the way of answering for such a question in order to know how to gain the full mark. For example, question number 1, what two purposes does the introduction serve? Justify your answer. Here he is asking only for two purposes. As you can see, he is asking only for two. It doesn't mean that the introduction only have two, but he is asking for two. I would say the two purposes that the introduction serves are, you can list them, but it's better to say that the introduction and say the first purpose. For example, present the thesis statement of the text. It's not enough to add this sentence. Why? Since it's too general, I have to mention the thesis statement for this paragraph or this essay, which mainly we could use some of the words written at the heading. Also, I have to relate the sentence, the second purpose, or I would say the second purpose or the other purpose, whatever transitional signal you use is correct. It attracts the reader's attention to the topic. Also, this is not enough. You have to mention which topic it attracts the reader to. So, when I mention the purposes, I have to justify this one to the context I'm reading about. Let's come to number two. What adjectives best describe the dentist's tone in paragraph number 4? Justify your answer. Here, we have to come for the word tone for at first. The word tone means the writer's attitude or the writer's point of view or feeling or emotion while he was writing his text. How can I figure out this one? Simply, it can be figured out from the idea he is elaborating, from the quotation he's using, from the words, from the synonym, from sentences, and from the diction he is already uses in this sentence. Here we have to be specific. If he asks you to what adjective, you have only to mention one adjective. If he asks you to what adjectives or what two adjectives, you have to be specific. For example, we would say the writer's tone is advising. It's not enough. I have to justify. Justification here revolves around the idea he is telling us in the paragraph. So I have to rely to the main idea in the paragraph because the writer have mentioned certain advices regarding and mentioned the topic, which are mainly reflected in the word he used. Open a bracket and write some words that allows you to conclude this tone. Now let's come to the third question. Identify the cohesive devices or link between paragraph 3, 4, between 6 and 7. Here we have to remember that the word cohesive devices mean or the cohesive link are the words or the links that relate two paragraphs together, how they are connected, how the themes and how the ideas are connected with one another to make cohesion. There are two types of cohesive devices, direct cohesive device and indirect cohesive device. When we talk about direct, it means the word is already written and shows the relation. For example, if we see the word on the contrary, on the other hand, however, I directly understand that I'm going to read opposite idea of what I have read before. So they are called direct. I would say, for example, the writer have used direct cohesive devices to connect paragraph 3 and 4. It's not the correct answer, okay? 3 and 4 because he has used the direct link or direct transition. On the other hand, to mention the opposite idea he was exploring in paragraph 3, which is I have to mention the main idea in paragraph 3 and main idea of paragraph number 4. Now let's come to the other type of cohesive devices. The other type of cohesive devices is the indirect cohesive devices. What does it mean, indirect? Indirect means that there is no clear word that describe it. Usually we would see synonym of a word. For example, if he has used the word school at paragraph 3 and later he has used the word the academic center in paragraph number 4, so it's the same idea, same synonym. If he have repeated the word school, 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 if he has used pronoun reference, for example, he has used it. So I have to specify, for example, how would we answer? He has used the cohesive devices he has used to relate is indirect because the writer have used pronoun reference to relate the ideas together in paragraph 3 and 4. And you have to give example with what word he has used and what device, or sorry, what the pronoun it refers to, or what synonym he has used for which word. The fourth question, identify the two types of evidence used by the writer to achieve credibility. When we talk about the word credibility, means trustworthy. We have sample answer to add. We would say the writer achieved the credibility using certain means of evidences, such as, and I have to list. Here he is asking only for two. It's enough to add, for example, real names. I have to open quotation add the names he has listed. If he has mentioned real places, I have to write real places with quotations and giving example listed. If he has used statistics, I have only also to add statistic with quotation, adding some examples he has used in his text. If he has used quotation, I have to add by using quotation. Also, write the quotation who has quoted. If he has mentioned a referensive, if he has mentioned testimonies, I have to add them with the referensive from the text. Hope this was useful, a little bit refreshment, and it would be great to go back to the other videos for the complete and full clarification of every. Let's come to part number C. In part number C, usually we have the vocabulary part. Usually we rely on context clue to figure out this part. So you need to read for understanding the words that have the same meaning. You have to understand from the context and rely to context clue. Also for that, with relevant to pronoun reference, you have to keep in mind that usually pronouns, which are subject, pronoun, object, and so on, usually they are before the noun. They refer to it's written before the words. For example, if we would say the word he, it, they, I have to search for the referent before it. But some pronouns have the referent directly after it. For example, we would say we would have the word this stage. So this is relevant to the word stage. Some of the partners. So some is relevant to partners. Okay, so you have to be specific to this one. How this quick review summary is useful for you. Wishing you all the luck.